Hey you, it is your friend Naomi and welcome back to my channel, Everybody Eats. Today I am going to teach you to make one of my family's favorite desserts, strawberry pretzel salad. Now I don't know why they call it salad, but it is Central PA and that's where I learned to make it, so that's what we're going to call it. Alright, are you ready to get started? So the first thing we're going to do is make our pretzel crust. If you've never made a pretzel crust, it might sound a little weird, but think of it like a slightly tangier or saltier version of a cookie crust or graham cracker crust. Absolutely awesome. You might want to bookmark this part of the recipe for later. All right, so we're going to start with 4 ounces of pretzels. If you're not gluten-free, you can use any good mini pretzel. I am gluten-free, so I pick a gluten-free brand that I like. I think today I did the Aldi brand. You're gonna crush it as finely as you like. Now my husband likes it really coarse, okay? But you can do it as fine as possible if you like. It'll be easier to cut that way. We're keeping it coarse. We are going to do 2 tablespoons of flour. If you're gluten-free, use a good cup for cup. I like better batter, but that's because I own the company. We're going to use 6 tablespoons of sugar. If you need to be sugar-free, I would only recommend a granulated monk fruit or xylitol, something like that. Don't use the powdery stuff. And you're going to use, we're not going to stir it in yet, but we're going to use 12 tablespoons of butter or dairy-free margarine. It really does need that much fat, guys. This is not a good for you recipe. So we are just going to stir that together until it's evenly combined. You want to get out any little lumps of sugar if you happen to have them. I buy my sugar in bulk, so I have lumps all the time. Until the powdered ingredients are mixed completely with the pretzels. Don't know if you can see that, but hopefully you can. Now we are going to mix in the butter or margarine. I don't know if I told you it should be melted, but it definitely should. Won't mix in otherwise. And you are just going to stir until a dough forms. Depending on how finely you crush this, it'll be more like a paste, or it will be like a, like a cookie dough. A little bit crumbly, but can press together. If you did it finer, it's more like that. If you do it coarser like I like, it'll be a little bit more gooey. So let me go ahead and show you. Can you see that? It is just right. And you're gonna press it into a 9x13 pan or 2 9-inch pie pans. So you just go ahead and dump it out. And you just press it out till it's even. And we are going to bake this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes. The idea is we are just melting the sugar and combining it with the butter and creating like a toffee crust, okay? So we're gonna put that in and I'll be right back. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes and I've taken the crust out of the oven and I am letting it cool. Now, it may take up to 30 minutes or longer to cool. You want it to be completely room temperature or even preferably you want it to be chilled. So make sure you plan ahead when you make this recipe. Probably should have said that first. We are now going to make the cream cheese layer. I love this. We're going to start with 8 ounces of a good cream cheese. If you do dairy, you buy whatever brand you want. I like Violife or Violife, but there are a couple good brands out there. You want it to be room temperature. It's a lot. And you are going to add to that 1 cup of granulated sugar. Once again, you can do granulated monk fruit or xylitol if you wish. And we are going to eventually fold in 8 ounces of either whipped cream or a whipped topping. I used a non-dairy Rich Whip, which I had to do ahead of time, but you need it to be about 2 to 4 cups. It's 8 ounces total. So we are going to take the cream cheese and the sugar, and we are going to whisk the crud out of it. And I will tell you, it'll start off looking crumbly and it'll look too dry, but the longer it goes, the creamier it will get. So you want to give it time. I would say this takes about 2 minutes. So you're not going to see the whole thing, but I will. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. When it starts, you're going to see it's crumbly, kind of granular looking, almost like it was chunks of cookie dough or those little mints that they serve at weddings. All right, now I'm going to show you what it looks like after it's been beat for a while. You can see it's smoothed out and it's still kind of thick. And now you can see, even though it's still thick enough to stay on the beater, it's fluffy. Kind of like the consistency of buttercream icing. That is what we are going for. You might need to stir this up a couple times. Make sure that all the sugar is incorporated into all the cream cheese. And once it is, we're going to take that whipped topping or whipped cream and we are going to fold it in. You don't need to be real gentle with this, guys. The reason we don't do it with the beater is because it will liquefy and just won't set up right. But you don't need to be super gentle about folding it. You want it to be really well incorporated. All right, so as you can see, it's fluffy but thick. We are going to set that aside while I get the crust, and then we're going to layer on the crust. Okay, so we are going to take our cheesecake layer and we are going to just smooth it down over top of the crust very evenly. You want to make sure that you don't see any crust at all, okay? Better to have a slightly thinner layer or double what you made than to have anything peeking through, because anywhere that the Jell-O layer leaks through, you're going to get a soggy crust. Maybe you like soggy crust, I don't know, but I don't like any soggy bottoms. So I make sure to really push it into the edges of the pan and then just smooth it out so that it's nice and pretty. And you're going to chill this while you make the strawberry layer, which is super easy and kind of fun. So I'm going to put this in the freezer just so we can hurry, and we're going to come back and make the strawberry layer. Okay, so for the strawberry layer, you are going to need 2 packages of gluten-free. I always say gluten-free, sorry. 2 packages of gelatin dessert. Now this can be regular or vegan. I highly suggest you choose the strawberry flavor, but I have been known to use other red flavors whenever I ran out of strawberry, and it worked pretty well. I think the brand I'm using today is Simply Delish, if you're looking for a vegan gel. And you're going to use 2 cups of boiling water. And you are going to stir that together until it is absolutely dissolved. Should be about 5 minutes. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's like a sauna in here. You're gonna let this come to room temperature, okay? So before you proceed, just go ahead, let it cool down. In my kitchen, it takes about 10 minutes, but we keep a very cool kitchen. I'll see you soon. So our Jell-O has cooled to about room temperature, might still be a little bit warm, and we have pulled our cheesecake and pretzel layers out of the freezer. Everything is ice cold, and on top of that mixture, on top of the layers, we are going to add 2 pounds of strawberries. It's a lot of strawberries, I know. You can use chopped, you can use fresh, well, don't use fresh, use frozen for sure, but you can use chopped, you can use sliced, there's the word. You can use whole, I like whole. Everything will give you a slightly different look. And it will make cutting a little bit easier depending on what you do. You want it to be a nice even layer. And it's okay if you just kind of plop it on there. If you are a huge fan of strawberries, feel free to double that amount. In a 9x13 pan, if you want every bite to have chopped up strawberries in it, you'll need between 1 and 2 pounds, and it may vary. So I always suggest you buy extra and use the rest for smoothies if you don't need it. We like whole strawberries because I like big bites of strawberry, but I am a strawberry fiend. I can never get enough strawberries. All right. This is about what 1 pound will look like. 2 pounds will be really generous, but you might need to double your Jell-O then, okay? And then you are going to pour your Jell-O very gently over top of the mixture. If you use 2 pounds of strawberries, this will set almost immediately. If you only use 1, it's going to take a little time. So you've got your layer. You may want to readjust your strawberries and get them down into the mixture. You are going to cover this tightly if you wish, which I do suggest if you're doing it for overnight. And you are going to chill it until the layer is completely set. I'm going to go ahead and slip this into my freezer, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done. Now this recipe is easily cut in half, easily doubled, so you can get as thick or as thin of a layer as you want. I already cut a piece out. Sorry, but it was delicious and I had to. And this is what it's going to look like. And as you can see, it's a nice, solid, I don't know if you can see inside, but there's a thick layer of pretzel, and then a thinner layer of cheesecake, and then a nice layer of strawberries and gel. And it is delicious. Well, that's it. I don't know what else to tell you. It really is that easy. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and make sure to share it with your friends because sharing is caring. And be sure to tell me what you're looking for as far as recipes. I'll do my best to fulfill your requests. And don't forget, I love you. Bye.